In this week's episode, we'll discuss the dreaded dip, how a storm of downturns can really mess with your mind. But we'll finish up with some fun with the kids in Kansas City. Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Tony.
And welcome to our RV Sunsets. We are a couple in our 50s that full-time in a Brinkley Z3100. What do you think of the beard? I don't know.
Santa, I know him.
I'm not sure about the beard thing. I don't know if I'm like the eccentric professor of paleontology from Wyoming State, or if I'm Cookie the prospector working the chuck wagon.
Santa.
It is pretty white.
It is white.
This week we have something a little bit different for you.
So first of all, we're not the doom and gloomer RV full-timers. That's just not us. So that's why you don't see a lot of negativity from us, because we just don't want to be those people. Because 99% of the full-time RV life is really good.
However, we also want to make sure that we give an accurate representation of what full-time RVing is like, and sometimes negative things happen. So in this episode, we want to touch on some of that and walk you through a dip that we just kind of went through. So first off, let's just define what's a dip.
And you didn't put this in my notes, but I'm going to say it. We'd like to thank KYD for the definition of a dip.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So a dip is a low point in the happiness that comes along with full-time RVing. It can be caused by a lot of things. It could be caused by disruption in your plans. It could be caused by weather issues, mechanical issues. Sometimes it happens in groups, and sometimes when it happens in a group, it can really lead to a dip.
Recently, we went through one of those dips. So in this episode, we kind of want to take you through what happened to us to put us into the dip and how dips can kind of mess with your full-time RV mind.
But we're going to end the video with goodness, because it wasn't all a dip. I mean, we had a really good time in Kansas City with our son and daughter-in-law, Vanessa. So the video is going to be a little out of order because we were in Kansas City first, having a great time. After that is when we hit the dip. And maybe that's why the dip hit so hard, was we had such a great beginning to our travel.
Oh, maybe the dip was deeper because the height was so much higher. Yeah, because we did have a great time with the kids.
We did. We had so much fun.
So let's pick this up after we left Kansas City and we started on our trip towards Sain Louis. Travel today was going swell. Quick 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive over to Sain Louis on the 70. And then this. We're just pretty much at a standstill.
We have food, we have water, and we have a toilet.
And it looks like we got a storm front coming in from the south.
Should we look at the weather?
You should probably pop your phone up and see what the weather's going to do, because it's looking awful dark and ominous to the south.
It really is. We're in Truesdale. Shit.
What's it saying?
Tornado watch. These conditions are expected to last till 7 p.m.
Yay!
We did all our research.
Things change. So what do you think? Is there a worse place to be than stuck in traffic surrounded by semis when a tornado touches down? Hashtag RV life, kids. So we're back up to speed again. I am getting blasted with a little wind now and again. Looking on drive weather, it looks like the storm is coming up actually behind us, so we're out in front of it. And we're just gonna keep pushing through to try and get to our campground, which is now 64 miles away. Oh, nothing like traveling through the Midwest.
That's the big map. That's my backup GPS. And this is the weather app. And that's what it looks like outside.
That storm is chasing behind us, man.
It's a little scary, but earthquakes we can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, earthquakes and fires, we've got that shit down, but tornadoes, not so much. Taking it slow. Mike's not even going his usual 65. He's down to 55, and we're staying in the slow lane and just letting everybody go by us, and we'll keep you posted. Want to talk about that?
The fact that all the emergency alerts went off?
We're on the middle of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lane freeway, trying to get off on the 270 north. I don't see too much flying debris right now, but the winds are picking up.
The rain.
Interstate 270 north and then keep left towards Interstate 270 north, Chicago.
This is kind of crazy.
It's a little scary. Okay, it's a lot scary. Kind of going down underground, so that's kind of reassuring, I think.
It's just crazy how quick this weather can change, man.
Tornado warning until
3:15. It is currently what?
2:46.
So for the next half hour. And we have 42 minutes until we're supposed to be where we're supposed to be.
We'll keep you posted.
So luckily we got through Sain Louis and to our campground, which was just a bit north of Sain Louis. It was outside of Grafton, Illinois. Yes, Grafton, Illinois, which is right along the Mississippi River. It was actually a really beautiful drive to there. The alert we got in the truck was a rather serious one, and we found that out later. There was a 1 mile wide EF3 tornado that touched down in Sain Louis, just a few miles north of where we were when that emergency alert went off. That tornado took 5 lives, and it caused an estimated $1.6 billion in damage. So needless to say, when we discovered all of that and discovered how close it had been to us, we were a bit rattled.
So we got to our campground all right, and it was a beautiful drive into the campground. We decided we don't have to unhook. We're just going to stay hooked up to the truck and try to manually level the trailer.
Yeah, because we tow a little bit nose high on the trailer, but this campsite had the truck kind of down lower than the trailer, so we figured we could just stay hooked up. Unfortunately, when we put the slides out, this happened. Thoughts on the park itself?
Oh, it's a pretty park. And the spots were fine. They could do a little tree trimming. The trees are a little low, but we just took it really slow.
All right, so what's on tap for today, Tony Tao?
We're going to a state park just outside of Indianapolis.
One thing that's going to be nice about leaving this morning is we don't have to do much pack up because we're still hooked up to the truck. So
this is the first time that we haven't unhooked.
But it may have cost us some damage on our floor. I couldn't get us completely level front to back, and when we put out our slide on the passenger side, it made a little damage on the floor. It kind of scrubbed the floor. That's the scratch it put on our floor.
It's tiny, but we're gonna have to keep an eye on it and see if there's like a repair, something we can repair it. But I just cannot figure out what caused it.
I think what caused it is that we're a little downhill, so it probably put more pressure on the front side of that slide as it was coming out. I'm hoping it doesn't do any more when it's going in. I'm gonna take it a little bit. I'm gonna take it partially in and then kind of look under there and see if I can see what's going on. All right, stop. I don't see. Come a little more. Yeah, I don't see anything. Lesson learned, I think, is make sure you are 100% level before putting slides out.
The rig does not feel unlevel, so it's not like a noticeable unlevelness.
No, it doesn't. All right, we will see you up in close to Indianapolis in another state park. So after we left Sain Louis, we had a fairly uneventful drive day until we got to Lieber State Park, which is just west of Indianapolis in Indiana. But after we got there and tried to set up, things got a little bit crazy. We didn't film any of this because we were just both so frustrated, but all of a sudden we could not get our automatic leveling system to level. It kept giving us errors that one of the leveling jacks was out of stroke when it absolutely was not. And at one point I reset the 0 point, which basically means get the trailer level and then tell the auto leveler that that's what level is. And I don't think it was actually completely level, and that caused even more problems, but it got us close. And so we were good for that night.
You have to imagine us unhooking and hooking and unhooking and hooking and unhooking and hooking the truck. We both stayed really calm though, but it was frustrating. Neither of us yelled at each other because we both recognized that we were frustrated. So the rest of the night after that was uneventful. And then we started out for Atwood Lake, Ohio. This was going to be a full hookup, beautiful park, and we were just so excited to get there after all this.
Yes.
We took the I-70 after Indianapolis, and that just beat the heck out of us. And it was for miles and miles and miles and miles. It was really rough, and then about 15 miles short of the Ohio border, Mike says, uh-oh, and this is what happened.
I've decided that Indiana and Louisiana are having a contest to see who can have the shittiest roads.
It's the I-20 in Louisiana, right?
Right, it's the I-20 down around Shreveport.
It's the I-70 in Indiana.
Like east of Indianapolis going into Ohio.
Holy crap.
It's just been beating the heck out of us for about 45 minutes now. It's kind of crazy. Indiana, fix your roads, please.
Wilbur Wright Birthplace and Museum.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
I don't know if this is an optical illusion or what, but it's looking to me like the trailer is tracking off to the driver's side. So I need to go and look at the running gears under the trailer and see if something is knocked loose or shifted. Oh, this has been like 3 days of just one thing after another. All right, I'm gonna look at the running gear here and see what we look like. When I got out of the truck and looked at the tires on the driver's side, they looked fine, but on the passenger side, not so much. The gap between the tires on the driver's side was about 5.5 inches. On the passenger side, it was 2 inches. Something was not right. All right, well, I know what happened. We just threw a wet bolt right here. That's the leaf spring, that's the hanger. We're gonna have to try and find someplace close by where we can go and get this fixed. We're gonna have to limp it somewhere. Oh, okay. Stand by, kids.
You know, I'm not too panicked because I can still come into the RV even though the sides are in.
So here's another Murphy's Law of RVing. If you're gonna break down, it's gonna be on a Sunday.
I have my phone, I have cell coverage. Sometimes you get in places you don't have cell coverage. So I'm just not gonna panic, and we're just gonna have to get this fixed and then carry on with our trip.
Well, we found a mobile RV tech that can come out, or actually it's not a mobile RV tech, it's a truck and trailer repair mobile guy that can come out and fix it. And since it's on a Sunday, it's a lovely $950. Ugh. I think I'm gonna be ordering some wet bolts just to have on hand.
I feel like I've seen a video like this. I think it was Craig. And then when they were up in Alaska, they had a very similar problem. The only problem we have is it is Sunday, so everything's closed. But we are in contact with an RV repair guy, a trucking repair company, and our good friend Joel and Tanya, who's all the way in South Dakota. But you know, hey, it's reassuring to be able to talk to somebody about this when you're having problems.
This has been a hell of a drive across the country.
No, the first half was fine.
First half was fine. This second half has been kind of crazy.
The last 3 days have been completely frustrating.
Yeah, it's been kind of nutty.
I mean, not to the point where I'm like, oh, you want to quit.
No.
But it has been frustrating.
Yeah.
There's a lot worse situations that could happen.
Agreed.
So we just have to take this in stride and be flexible.
All right, well, I'm waiting to hear back from this guy. Let's see what happens. Question, Tony Tao. Are we officially in a dip?
Am I upset that my plans are being fudged up? Fudged up? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your lesson here?
My lesson was I shouldn't have let those wet bolts go as long as I did without making sure they all took grease. I can't remember if this was one that wasn't taking grease or not. So that's my lesson. I shouldn't have waited that long.
Feeling bad?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry.
Lesson learned.
I'm sorry you're feeling bad. I just wonder, yeah. Anyway.
We're over a barrel because it's a Sunday.
Yes, we are.
And he's the only guy that'll answer the phone.
Yes, he is.
So, yeah. All right, well, we're waiting on a guy to come fix the hanger.
Meanwhile, there's lunch.
Lunch is here. After about an hour, mega truck and trailer repair showed up. All told, we were down for about 3 hours before we were back on the road. With the wet bolt situation fixed for now, we decided that instead of pushing on through to Ohio, we were just going to stay at a local KOA. Again, we had issues with trying to get the leveler to level. And this time, we couldn't get it completely level side to side. And so we wound up kind of in a situation where the trailer was falling off to the driver's side, to the kitchen side by a little bit. So when we went to bed that night, we were sleeping where our heads were lower than our feet.
I woke up, I felt like blood was in my head. So I just grabbed Gracie and I turned around and put my head at the foot of the bed.
Yeah, and the other thing that I discovered while at that park trying to level was the rear passenger side stabilizer or jack wouldn't come down in manual mode. Now this really posed a problem for us because to again reset and zero the level point, I needed to manually level. Well, I couldn't manually level because that jack wouldn't come down. I still have to get a hold of Lippert and try and figure out what's going on with that with the manual level. The next morning, we got hooked up, got ready to leave, and this is kind of the thoughts that were in our head before we left that KOA. We have done everything that we possibly can to break the bad juju. We got Yinglings and we toasted to the RV god of Dipicus to get us out of this dip. All right, Tony Tao, thoughts? Oh, hopefully today breaks the dip because it's just kind of crazy. But let me just say this. We got through yesterday. We didn't get mad at each other because if you break something and then you get all mad, all it means is you got something broke and you're now mad. We kept calm. We got it fixed, or at least fixed for now. So today, up to Atwood Lake. Fingers crossed that our sacrificial Yingling to the god of Dipicus worked. Mm-hmm. I love you, Tony Tao.
I love you too.
We're done. The dip is done today. All right, we're out.
So how did this make us all feel? We were frustrated. This was the first major breakdown that we've had. And the fact that it was on the heels of a tornado and having issues with the auto leveler, we were just starting to question if this was the end of the joy of full-time living.
Yeah, I think we were both thinking, the honeymoon's over. Yeah, our rig is now made out of glass and it's going to start falling down around us. What the hell were we thinking getting into this lifestyle? If this happens to you, if you have one of these situations where it's one hit after another, you're probably going to be in the same place.
A dip.
A dip. But now we're past the dip. We're a couple of weeks past the dip while we're recording this part. And I think that our heads are kind of in a little bit different place now.
A little bit?
Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit about the thoughts that were going through your mind when all of these things were hitting us?
You start just thinking crazy thoughts. You start thinking, oh, karma's coming to get us. What'd we do? That first couple of years was so good. We never had any major problems, and maybe the luck is broken and now we're just going to have nothing but problems. And after your first major breakdown, you kind of feel, like he said, you feel like the rig is made of glass. You're like, every bump we went over, I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But we hit the camp. And it was a beautiful camp. It was exactly what was needed. We spent 4 days, full hookups, beautiful camp. Everything went right that day on our drive. By the time we settled in that night, and we sat down and had a long talk about it, and we realized, okay, this is not the end of the end. This is just, it's a dip. It's a dip.
Yeah.
And now we have to do everything we can to raise our spirits and get out of that dip.
All right, so I think the key takeaway here is if you wind up going through a dip, just understand it's natural that you're going to go through that. You will get to the other side of it, even if it's like hit after hit after hit, which it was for us, like 3 days of bang, bang, bang. You're still going to get past it.
And talk about it. Say, I think I'm in a dip.
Yeah.
Why am I sitting here crying on this, on this side of the truck as we go down the road? But when you're both going through it, it's hard. So we kind of did, okay, it's going to be okay. Okay, it's going to be okay. Okay, it's going to be okay. And eventually it was.
Yeah. All right, so that this whole video isn't a complete downer, we do want to show you a little bit of the fun that we had with the kids while we were in Kansas City. And this is one of the reasons why we love this lifestyle. We get to see our son and daughter-in-law more. We get to see our friends more as we travel around this country. But before we roll that part of this video, I just want to ask you, if you got something out of this video, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. If you are somebody that has gone through your own dip while full-time RVing, or just RVing in general, throw a comment below. Let us know what your dip was and how you got past it.
Also, if you'd like to meet up with us on the road, we can talk about the dip and how we got through it. In the description, there's a link so you can sign up for our newsletter that'll tell you ahead of time where we're going to be as we're traveling.
Yeah, that newsletter kind of tells you more in real time where we're at. So if we're in your neighborhood or you're in ours, we can get together, have a cup of coffee or have a beer.
Or we can help you out of a dip.
We can help you out of a dip. Okay, so here's the fun that we had while we were in Kansas City. Well, good morning, kids. How many days we've been in Kansas City now with your cool sunglasses?
This is our 4th day.
Yesterday, I spent the whole day editing on the Broadway San Diego television show. If by any chance any of you work for the Broadway production of The Notebook, I could really use some show B-roll. I just need some show B-roll from The Notebook.
Maybe we could fake it. That'd be funny.
You and I just
That's
do
a
the
suggestion. The end is like the old people and they die together. So we could just crawl into bed and die together.
and just die together.
We're just going to do a slow push in on us laying in bed dead.
Okay, why not? I like the creative idea. I'll buy it. Today, we are going to go and hang out with the kids. The only thing I know that they had talked about, they found a bar in Kansas City called The Ship. We are suckers for a theme bar.
God, yeah.
So we're going to go check out The Ship.
Can I make another suggestion?
Yes, of course.
So every time I come to a new town, I start just looking on TikTok videos just to see what's going on in town. Get the most amazing suggestions. Like I now have 20 places that I'm going to have to brunch in Kansas City.
Oh, cool. Well, it's getting warm in this truck, so I'm going to start it up, quit yapping, and let's go have some fun.
You quit yapping?
Well, yeah. True. Very true. All right. We'll see you wherever we see you.
On our way to the West Bottoms neighborhood, the sun took us under this really cool bridge. And then we made our way over to this nautical nicety known as The Ship.
So I would never have thought to be in a landlocked place like Kansas City, Kansas, and stumble onto a ship-themed bar. But thoughts?
Awesome. Thank you, Michael and Vanessa, for bringing us here.
really good food. I had the Kansas City Reuben, which was kind of like a barbecue and a sandwich and a Reuben sandwich mixed together. Tony Tao had the Cubano.
Oh, yum.
Thoughts on the Cubano?
It was perfect.
So yeah, if you happen to be in the Kansas City area, I can highly recommend the Ship. We then headed over to the Strawberry Hill District and stumbled onto a neighborhood dive that was right up our alley. We give you Chicago's.
Chicago's is your standard neighborhood bar, complete with a ceiling covered with dollar bills. They have a shuffleboard, cocktails on tap, complimentary popcorn, and a full selection of draft beers.
So Dive Bar 1 was a Ship. Dive Bar 2, I believe, was a submarine. And I say that because Tony Tao has been submarined. How you doing back there, Tony Tao?
Oh, man, munchies.
Thoughts on Chicago? Mike Tao, thoughts on Chicago?
Absolutely fantastic dive bar.
Tony Tao, thoughts on Chicago?
The patrons were awesome. We met 2 guys in there. What were their names?
Steve, who was a firefighter, and Matt, who was a T-Mobile employee.
Oh my God, we just had the best time ever. We just talked about everything. And
I think the person that made it the most lovely was Keely. Do we all agree?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So Keely was the bartender that was there, but she is
firefighter.
She is also a KCK firefighter. Absolutely lovely lady. If you're in the Kansas City area, we recommend that you make your sweet home Chicago's.